The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Gasolina, and I'm joined tonight by a guy who had one of the most epic Wendy's orders I've ever seen in my life. Regsy Boo, we are back tonight.
It was a dark time in my past, Azzy. I can't believe you would bring that up again. I'm joking.
I mean,
it was epic.
It was.
And
it
continued
was,
to be.
I don't even remember what it was.
It was.
I don't even remember what it was.
Too much to say. We'll just leave it as that. It was too much to even remember.
You know what though? I'm coming off a pretty hefty McDonald's order myself.
You've been known to have some of those.
Yeah. Yep. That means I'm going to have to be at the gym for like 5 hours tomorrow.
You're just riding a high right now.
I am. You said it as soon as I signed on tonight that I'm riding a high.
What is the most nuggets you've ever put down?
Oh, easily like 40 plus.
Nice.
Yeah. I had 20 tonight.
That's awesome.
And a McChicken.
There you go.
And a large fry.
Beautiful. That's a Regs order.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I introduced it that way tonight. I feel like it was perfect for tonight.
That's an epic McDonald's order.
I feel like I've gone bigger.
I'm sure.
Before. Like, I feel like in college I went bigger.
We all did.
Yeah, I definitely think that's factual.
Yeah.
Speaking of going big, we went for it this week, man. We went for Alex Coffey. She didn't really love it, I feel like.
That's okay.
We'll forgive her. We still love her.
We do.
Yeah, she's the best.
We'll take indifference as, she's a busy lady.
Oh, for sure. She's hammering out articles and doing interviews, and hopefully one day we get her on. But
one day.
In lieu of that, Regs, we have some listeners ready to go tonight.
We do.
I mean, I look over in the corner here.
Literally
like
waiting.
We got like 5 people sitting in the queue waiting for us.
We do.
So do we even mess around tonight? We just go into it.
Well, do you want to preface what we put the topic out there?
Yeah, so we decided tonight that we were going to talk about a little bit of what was discussed on the Phillies game when Regs was there last week or 2 weeks ago, the 80 game, the 1980 championship honoring game. And they talked about Jimmy Rollins was on the broadcast and John Kruk had mentioned that Jimmy's the second best Philly of all time. And Regs and I will give our opinions on that probably closer to the end of the show. But yes. I'm curious to get the opinions of those that are in the waiting room tonight. Who is the second best Philly of all time? Like, without a doubt, Mike Schmidt is the greatest Philly of all time.
Yes, I think that's
I don't think there's
undeniable.
There. Right. So we're curious to know who the Phixated Nation believes is the second best Philly of all time. So I think we just go, right? Like, I think we just go for it at this point.
Why not? Who do we want first?
Let's get MW Rogers 123 onto the show.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Matthew.
Goodness gracious.
Can I tell you, Regs, Matt is stranded on the side of the road. He has a flat tire on his bike.
That is severely unfortunate, but we appreciate you jumping in from the side of the road. On your bike, so you're not even in your car?
No, so
look at him. He's in the full racing gear. He's ready to go.
Let me give you the rundown of my day as quickly as possible. So, had a delightful day of professional development in 4th grade all day long. Barely stayed awake, came home, took the dogs for a walk. None of them did their business, which means another walk, The wife gets home from PT, wants to chat. I'm trying to go meet up with friends and have a beverage or two. Contractors are doing stuff at our house. That's all done. I go for a bike ride. My front light falls off. So if you guys can see this, there's athletic tape holding my light onto my bike. I'm riding into Lancaster City. I lose my wallet. And then I get a flat tire out of all places, Michael.
Oh, my God.
Overlook Golf Course. That's
there it is.
There you
Overlook.
See, there's
Home
the
of
whole
Chris
screen-
I was
Fairbanks.
about to say we could send a friend in like 3 minutes if you really
Yeah.
need help.
If you
I
really
would
need help.
prefer my wife, who's 7 minutes away,
Fair
but
enough.
that'll be
All
quite a bit
right.
longer. How are you,
All
gentlemen?
We're great, man. We're great. We're so happy you came on in all the distress that you're living right now. What a great visit for us.
Legitimately, first time, long time. It's a pleasure of mine. I've been trying to do this. As he sends these messages like, "Hey, if you're not doing anything," I'm like, "Yeah, I have like 15 things to do tonight, maybe," which is just a polite way of saying not a chance in the world. But it's nice to finally make it on with you, gentlemen.
Hey, I gotta ask you straight up, when am I coming on your podcast?
If only you were a distinguished educator, then we could consider it. I don't know.
That means I'm out for sure. So we'll just
Hey,
write
That is
that
Matt.
right off.
far from the truth. You're coming on in what, 3 weeks from now?
Yeah, I think I'm coming on the beginning of September.
That's right.
Yeah.
A much more successful podcast, I have to say, educating the future teachers of the world. We'll see what Michael has to contribute. I'm questioning it. I've been working on the questions, drawing blanks. I just don't know.
There's not enough knowledge in this brain for you to ask enough questions. So I feel like we're probably going to need to cut that episode in half.
That's what I was budgeting.
Okay, fair enough.
There's one to skip. It's the Mike one. We're good.
It's the me one. Well, while we have you on the Phixated podcast, let me ask you this question. One that we're asking all callers tonight. A couple of weeks ago on the broadcast, they had the 1980 team on, and John Kruk was talking to Jimmy Rollins and Tom McCarthy, and Kruk mentioned that he feels Jimmy Rollins is the second best Philly of all time. Matt, agree or disagree with John Kruk, and why? Or who is the second best Philly of all time?
Second best Philly of all time would be Beady Eye Joe Blanton. I mean, he's my favorite of all time. When they signed Joe Blanton,
Beady Eye Joe.
I knew. I have a signed Bam Bam signed
He
autograph
does.
photo
He
in my
does.
basement of Joe Blanton. I don't know what it is. He's a goon, but I freaking love him. There's something about, he gives all of us hope that we can do something with our lives. No, I will say I could understand that statement. Jimmy represents the Philly as well as being an incredible, multi-tool player. Like, I can understand where he's coming from. And when we boil it down, there are so many faces of the Philadelphia Phillies, but it's wrapped up in a nice picture as Jimmy. I can understand that, even if he wasn't my favorite player.
Yeah, because I actually said this before, Matt. My favorite player of all time is Pat Burrell.
Of course.
There's no
Miami
doubt.
proud.
Miami proud, baby. Yeah, absolutely. But I agree. I feel like Jimmy he encompasses Philadelphia, especially from that run. He was the guy. So yeah, I think that's a very fair statement. I mean, Beady Eye Joe is a great call though.
Listen, it's tough. It's tough to beat.
I mean,
Good
that
old Joe
home run. God, come on.
It really is.
Anything-
If you ever wondered if you could play in the major leagues, Joe gave you hope that you could do it.
That and Pedro Feliz are two of my top two.
Fair.
just saying.
You do love some Peter Happy.
I love, a funny story. So my mom's company has Diamond dugout tickets, and I don't know what it was. Mike, you may have been at the game with me. You're yelling from 3 rows away, and they're all professionals. They know not to pay attention. And then there Pedro Feliz is when you would yell at him and just give you a little wink. You gotta love the guy. He's incredible.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Matt, I also know you're an Eagles season ticket fan. Give me something before you head out and get your bike figured out there. Give me something you're excited about for the season.
I guess the Birds are in the perfect place, in my opinion, of all sports. We love the process Sixers when they have great players, but expectations are still low. If they come out and play poorly, we're not going to have our weeks ruined because of it. if they play well, then it's going to be at or above expectation. So it's a fun year to be a fan of the Birds because either outcome, we'll be disappointed. But I remember how hard I took it the years after the Super Bowl, knowing that they obviously have enough talent, to play better than they were. Then they tear it down. They have the whole Carson, debacle, whatever the case may be. I love the position that they're in. I had the best year going to the games last year because I went with no expectations. This year, I feel like I have expectations, but, you got to question a quarterback, which I think won't be a question by the end of the season. And we can still have fun without the pressure mounting on our shoulders.
Player you're most excited to watch?
Zach Pascal. No. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the rookies on defense. I'm looking to see, are they gonna? There's so much hype, and I think that we spent high in those positions that we've all been clamoring for.
Mm-hmm.
That can be the basis of, a reasonably strong defense for years to come. And, offensive weapons can come and go, and, how he's going to toy and spend money where he needs to. Those are the areas that, are fun to root for, but you don't want to depend on. If we can anchor defense with these young guys, I mean, the age of this team is stupid. Yeah. And, if 70% of them pan out to being professional, above average players, I love that trajectory.
Yeah. All right. Last question before you go. It's a two-parter.
Is it a Union one? You've been watching a lot of the matches?
I haven't, but you know what? Well, hold on. Let's do these two, and then I want to. Before you go, you give us your Union thoughts.
All right.
Percentage chance the Phillies make the playoffs. Percentage chance the Eagles make the playoffs.
I won't give percentage, but I think I think the Birds go further in playoffs than the Phils.
But they both make it?
I'll say that the Birds go further in postseason potential than.
Fair enough.
All
Fair
right.
enough. All right, give us a Union thought before we send you out of here.
So I'll give you a Union and a Philadelphia Phoenix, which I don't know anything
Phoenix.
about. No. So first, I'll start with Phoenix. A bunch of my friends, if you are not familiar, a huge rising sport across the country is ultimate Frisbee. Mike knows I play a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Some really great guys out there. Actually, the Philadelphia sports guy, the guy that, paints his face at Birds games, has been going to a lot of the matches. It's in Conshohocken and different parts of the city. Freaking awesome time. If you want to just have a good, sporting event experience, check it out. They play at University of Penn sometimes. That's the one comment. Philadelphia Union, we are spoiled with inconsistency in Philadelphia. I will say Union, I'm a 9-year season ticket holder. I started having tickets to make fun of the awful product on the pitch, and they have gotten ridiculously good. And we see it on things like, guess who's showing up right now? Hey, Lady K.
Ah, there she is.
I'll end the comment with saying, Union have been top tier in the league for the last 3 years and are the model of consistency of playing that Moneyball style in Union or in the MLS. So they're not signing the big names, but they're developing a ton of players that if you only really care about the U.S. men's national team, there's 4 or 5 guys that are on the pipeline that are going to be playing in the World Cup. So games are cheap. The seats are, super close to the pitch and a lot of fun. So you should check it out.
Awesome. Matt, thanks for coming. Tell Paps I said hello and that I love her. And we'll talk soon, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, man. See ya.
What a fun call that was.
That's going to be tough to beat from the side of the road at Overlook Golf Course. I mean, a staple of our times together.
And you know what?
And a crossover to the other podcast.
And a good call.
And a great call.
like with like really thoughtful
and
answers
almost
to all
better
the
quality
questions.
on his iPhone 13 than either of us have on our webcams. That while
How
we're
about
sitting
it?
here.
And you know what? Like even the question about like percentage chance that Phillies make the playoffs and the Eagles make the playoffs, like wouldn't commit. He would not commit.
He wouldn't. The true Philly sports fan didn't want to jinx it on either
He would
side.
not commit. But what a great call by Matt, man. Like
Fantastic.
what a great call. Are either of us ready to give our second best player? Are we not there yet?
No, I don't think we're there yet.
We're not there yet.
No.
All right. Then are we bringing in our next
We
caller?
are. Who do you want
All
next
right.
from the old
Bring
waiting
in
room?
Joe H.
Joe H is coming.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Joseph.
Brothers.
What's up, Joe?
Here I am.
Oh, there he is. Joe.
Hopefully you can hear me.
We
I had
can.
to plug in.
We got you, man. We got you. How you doing?
First time, long time. Glad to be here. Love the pod. Love the B&B network. Gosh, can't get enough. Happy to be here.
We appreciate
It
that
was
very
great
much.
in the waiting room.
I
Well,
can
we
only
heard-
imagine what Joseph is doing in the other Joseph
I don't know
is doing in the waiting room.
what's happening in there.
It's top 50 Phillies of all time.
Oh.
It's talking about work. It's talking about favorite podcasts. It's singing the praises of you two gentlemen.
That might just have to be like a special episode. We just let everyone in the waiting room and we just record for a half hour.
We said that.
We'll literally call it the waiting room.
So when you were in there before, Matt was there. Did Matt tell you where he was?
Matt, hopefully Matt was picked up. He had a flat tire.
He was literally getting picked up right at the end of his phone call with us. So perfect timing.
He did get picked up, but we asked him a bunch of tough questions that we're ready to ask you.
Oh, I thought I was the one asking the questions.
No,
Well, we're gonna ask you a couple.
Both. We're gonna ask you some.
But we're gonna let you. We're gonna let you come in then.
All right,
But
that a boy.
that's
Ready.
it.
He's watched the videos before.
Cheers, buddy. So here's a question I'm gonna ask you. I actually sent this to you because you were at the game when John Kruk had Jimmy Rollins in the booth, and John Kruk asked Jimmy, or told Jimmy and Tom McCarthy, that he feels as though Jimmy Rollins was the second best Philly of all time. And that was after Pete Rose was in there saying all kinds of stuff. So we're asking people tonight, do you agree that Jimmy Rollins is the second best Philly of all time? And if he's not, that's fine. But who would you say is? And if he is, why would you say he is?
So this was also happening in the waiting room, which I think we could lovingly call the disco lounge because it was popping in there. But we were talking, and I was thinking about this too, because you and I did text back and forth quite a bit about, J. Roll and, kind of his place. I think when I think of my Phillies fandom, I think of it in kind of two eras. Like there's the guys that my dad always talked about, my dad idolized and my uncle idolized. And, when we talked about the game, the alumni game, those were the guys that, that my dad loved. But then I also think the guys that I grew up with. And then I just think there's so many great Phillies that came before, my dad and I watched, that would be on that list. But I think from my generation, I could definitely see J-Roll on that second spot. I also think Chase, I just think Chase was a great ball player. I was a huge Doc fan, huge. But I don't even know that he's top 3 best Phillies pitchers of all time. You could put Kurt Schilling up there. You could put Cole up there. Are they second best all time? Probably not. But position players, I think J. Roll is definitely up there. I think Chase is pretty close to him. Obviously, Chase never won an MVP, but J. Roll is just so smooth. He was just so good in the field. He was a pretty reliable hitter. Didn't always run out those fly balls, but I could see him second best.
Always a Chase complaint or a Jimmy complaint was he didn't run the ground balls back out and
if he never makes an error in the field, I'll take him not running out routine fly balls. That's fine with me.
So Joe, what did you have for us?
So listen to the last pod. there was, some excitement about, Abel and Painter moving up and how quickly they've ascended. Just looking at this year's rotation, we've got Wheeler for next year. Nola's got a team option. Gibby's going to be a free agent. Syndergaard's going to be a free agent. Eflin's got a mutual option, and Suarez is, going to be eligible for arbitration. Do you guys think that they bring back 1, 2 of those guys? Maybe, do you think it's even possible that Abel and Painter come up in time for next year? I also am worried about, if you bring one of those guys up or bring them both up and it's a struggle for them, do we then miss out on years with Bryce, with JT, our big guys that, we really need to carry us and hopefully onto a World Series?
Yeah, so Regs, I'll speak a little bit to this and then jump in after that. I think likely situation is you go into next year, Wheeler, they'll pick up Nola's option, Ranger will be in there, and then I think you're looking at the possibility of one of Gibson and Syndergaard, or both of Gibson and Syndergaard. In that 4 or 5 spot. I think Eflin's pretty much out the window, Joe. I think at this point, Eflin always has the ability, like the potential is there. We see it whenever he's healthy. It's there. The problem is that Zach Eflin's ability does not match his availability, and that's a problem. And he's just never available for a full season. And I think the potential is entirely there. I think he's a top number 2 if he's healthy, and a floor number 3, which is a really good kind of platform to sit on. But I don't think he's going to be in their future plans. That being said, the organization is very high on another guy you didn't mention, Griff McGarry. And I think Griff McGarry could end up being that 5th starter next year out of spring training, or they could go with the Syndergaard and Gibson pairing and eventually move McGarry up if one of those guys gets hurt. But I do think Painter and Abel are in the plans for the end of next season. There goes the light. There it goes.
22 minutes, or almost like 22 minutes this time.
22 minutes tonight. Wow. That's a big deal for us. So I think Painter. I actually think, Joe, that Andrew Painter is going to be the top pitching prospect in baseball next year.
Wow.
That's where I feel like he sits. But I think Griff McGarry could be up there sooner than the two of them. Regs, anything to add there?
No, I would think that, again, you know a lot more about the prospects than I do, but just talking from like the major league team standpoint, I think you're right. I think that letting all those guys go wouldn't be smart because, like you said, if those young guys come up too quickly, we've wasted enough good Bryce years, and we see JT's declining, and obviously with Schwarber and Castellanos being here for only 4 more years, I know Castellanos will be here for 1 more, but again, with both of them together, that you have to put your absolute best major league team on the field. So I wouldn't be shocked if they bring all those guys back and use them as trade pieces. If they think that Painter and Abel are going to be ready, like as he said, later in the season, like the Phillies might turn into sellers of starting pitching, at the trade deadline to get whatever they can to fill whatever needs they're seeing from the rest of that season. That's how I see it going. Sign the guys for 1 more year. Maybe you sign like a Gibson for maybe 2, but obviously you have the option to trade him if he's not. I don't think he'll make too much money that another team.
Yeah, I think you'll get some sort of discount with both he and Syndergaard loves being in Philly. He's talked about it since he's gotten here.
Yeah, and so I think I like Kyle Gibson. I think he's pitched really well for us considering the spot he's come into. I don't think Suarez is going anywhere because we obviously need a lefty starter, to mix up the arms in this rotation. And he obviously has been back to form, which has been great to see. So I would see it more as that we still wait on them. They won't be up at the beginning of the year, but I could see the Phillies being sellers of starting pitching at the trade deadline and then bringing those guys up. If the team is doing well and they have a good record and all those things, I don't think they bring them up if we're like in the same situation if Girardi was still here, right? I don't think that happens. You're not going to bring in young arms to a team that's already struggling and get rid of not proven, but MLB, major league starting caliber pitchers.
Joe, let me ask you this. If you could keep one of those three, Syndergaard, Gibson, Eflin, if you only got to keep one, who would you keep?
Great question.
Yeah, I think, I'm definitely keeping Gibson. I need to see Syndergaard for the rest of the season. Like, if he's good, and he's available, the big thing for me is this, the same thing that you mentioned about Eflin. Like, he hasn't been, I don't think he's been here. I mean, the only years he was consistent was when we were like not doing anything. And I would take, Syndergaard over Eflin. You said it, and I was going to say it too. Like, you've seen the articles about how much he's enjoyed his, short time here, and we love when a guy loves to be here. So, imagine we're a quarterback factory city. We're going to be a starting pitcher factory city. I mean, let's go wild, boys.
Let me ask you this before you go. You said we're a quarterback factory city. How many wins? How many wins you got the Eagles at this year?
Man, I'm gonna go. Listen, I want to say more. I think we got 9. I think we got 9.
Oh my God!
Sorry.
This
Listen,
guy,
a man after my own skeptical heart. I love it.
This guy. You know, Joe's not a Jalen Hurts guy. That's the problem.
Yeah, just prove me wrong, Jalen.
That's right. That's right. Let's see it.
I love it, Joe. Thanks so much for calling, man.
Thanks, Joe. We appreciate it, man.
Regs, it's Little League World Series time. Get some tips. Get some good speeches for the Warriors for next year.
If you don't think I've been watching, you're crazy. The fact that my kids want to turn it on is the best part. But
That's
I also
awesome.
love that the coaches are mic'd up. And I swear we've watched that video of the kid getting hit in the head and then walking and like giving the pitcher a hug like 1,000 times because I just keep burning it into my 8-year-old son's brain. Because at the end of the season, again, I'm going on a Little League baseball tangent here for just a second. At the end of the season, him and his friends started getting pissy at umpires. And I was not having it. Like, that is not okay. Like, my son would strike out and he'd throw his hands up in the air. And I'd be,
Not happening.
That stuff
not happening
doesn't
in
fly.
Riggs' house.
No, that stuff does not fly.
Not on the Warriors.
So I'm like, of course I bring him over to the bench and I'm like this close to him. And I'm like, if you ever do something like that again, I swear, you'll never see a baseball field in your entire life. Right. But it happens with a few other players. So I'm literally going to like bring that video up. We have our first practice officially on Monday and I'm literally going to bring that video up and talk to them. Cause I'm not like, even my assistant coach was like, we were a little lenient last year, right? They're 6.5 years old. They're just getting into travel baseball. We can be a little lenient with them goofing off and everything like that. They played well. They played hard. That's cool. But we're flipping the switch this year, man. We're not putting up with that crap anymore.
Hey, go all out, Regs. Day 1, give them hit by pitch practice. Tennis balls, though.
That's true. That's a good point. I'll bring some tennis balls and we'll see how that goes. The problem is I need a bunch of kids to learn how to pitch, so I don't need them hitting guys first. I need them to actually throw strikes first.
I need you to teach them how to take a hit by pitch.
That's when they piss me off. I'll just put them in that drill. Yeah, we'll save that for later.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
We appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Take it easy.
See ya.
Have a good one. Oh man, we are 2 for 2.
I was about to say.
What a great call.
We're 2 for 2.
That's a great call. I mean, I feel like I saw someone else come in. I think they left. I thought I saw Gum come in.
He's here. He's just not in the waiting room. He's online.
Okay. All right. So we'll bring him in a little bit. You want to do Roger here? What do you think?
Is that Fix fan?
Yeah, it's Raj right there. Let's bring him in.
Here we go.
Not on the pod, but
Roger.
I'm on now.
We took him out mid-conversation. He was mid-conversation.
Yeah, we pulled you right in, man. We pulled you in.
Because I was talking to, so Joseph and I I mean, I'm not sure how you set that up so that Joseph and I were in the waiting room together. He thinks it was an evil plot and that you were trying to bring us in together because he thinks that would be the greatest show ever. But hey, so
Joseph's computer can't handle 4 people on the screen at once, so we can't
he'd
do
go.
it.
Yeah, we have to take it easy on Joseph's computer, Roger.
That's fine. I was explaining to my daughter what I was doing because she's sitting here looking at me this whole time. Now she's 21,
come on.
so it's not like she's a little girl or anything. But because she's like, "What are you doing?" So I was mid-explanation to her while Joseph was on standby listening to my explanation.
I mean, listen, Joseph can wait. You tell your daughter you are on the Fixated Podcast.
I have
right
the
now.
Phixated Podcast right now, and I am Fix fan for podcast.
You are. That is exactly who you are. Fix fan. I mean, when I said that we were gonna get merchandise, Roger was the first one to say, "Sign me up, Rags."
That's right.
It's coming. It's
coming.
It better be.
It's right around the corner. It's right around the corner.
I love the designs. They were awesome.
Yeah. We're excited about them. Roger, you and I kind of talked about this, the question that we're asking everybody tonight, and then we're going to get to whatever you want to talk about.
Oh.
So the question we're asking everybody tonight goes back to 2 weeks ago when the Phillies had their 1980 celebration. And after the Pete Rose debacle, the Phillies brought Jimmy Rollins into the booth. And John Kruk just straight out said, "You're the second best Philly of all time." And I think I texted you almost immediately, we had a brief conversation about it. So I'm going to ask you, is Jimmy Rollins the second best Philly of all time? And if he is, why? If he's not, who is, and why is that person the second best Philly of all time?
So I'm going to put him in the conversation. My battery's dying, but I'm good yet. He is definitely in the conversation. I figured more people would say him. We were having this conversation in the waiting room when it was the 4 of us in there originally. And by the way, Phil was in the waiting room and is coming back.
He's back.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. I went and I started thinking about Lefty. Because damn, sorry, I guess we can swear.
Yeah,
sure.
Oh
yeah, you're good. You're good. Riggs has said far worse on here.
But he basically was the starting of their resurgence in essence to make them legitimate. And what he did on the mound for them, I, as a young kid, was watching them at that time, and he was ridiculous. The inning, they couldn't even think of taking him out of a game. He would have simply told them, "No, I'm staying in." And so I do see what he did was just amazing. They don't let pitchers do today what he did, and that was stay in games and pitch that often to get the numbers that he had. But I will say Jimmy's, and you and I have had the talk previously as well, and I do think he's worthy of Hall of Fame, Jimmy, because of the wide variety of things that he did well. The power numbers are pretty darn good for a 5'8", 5'9" dude. Steal a base when you need him to steal a base. Amazing fielder when you need him to be a fielder. The guy who was willing to be the voice to say, "Dudes, we're winning it." Like, that's just who he was. And a lot of guys aren't that. Chase Utley is not that. He led by example, but he wasn't going to speak out about it. Right. Scott Rowland obviously wasn't going to do it. And honestly, Mike Schmidt probably wasn't that guy either. They were guys who showed up and played where Jimmy had that little flair to put it all on his shoulders and do what he needed to do to make the team believe. So I would go with those two guys were the two that I had in my mind as the number 2 Philly.
I love that. So, Roger, anything that you wanted to specifically talk about tonight? Anything you came on to speak to?
I was only thinking about this question. You know me, my focus is not that great. So I thought of one thing. I am excited about what's going on right now with the Eagles defense. I'm excited to see those guys. Jordan Davis, I think, is going to fill the role that they really need, is that guy who's going to keep guys off the linebackers who are smaller guys that can run to the ball. And so I think that's going to be exciting to watch. Not sure yet about the safeties, but that's the one spot that I do think they're lacking depth, as you and I have also spoken about. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited for a pennant race.
Yeah. Let me ask you this real quickly. How pumped up were you after you saw the Seahawks video of JJ Arcega-Whiteside?
He's amazing. He had 7 plays in his NFL career.
They were all in that video.
That's exactly right.
Actually, Riggs,
7 career catches.
I got to give Roger credit because I retweeted that, and Roger actually responded to it with, they caught all of his 7 career catches. It's the perfect response. And I had to ask you that. All right. So let me ask you this serious question. Put a percentage chance on the Phillies making the playoffs and a percentage chance on the Birds making a playoffs, Roger.
So like the percentage of them combined or percentage for each?
Each.
Separately. Yeah. Each.
Separately?
Yep.
I would say, I'd say the Phillies are probably in the 70 to 80% range.
That's fair.
I think, I mean, there's a clear, still sizable chance that they don't, but I think they're well over 50% chance that if they keep doing what they're doing with getting Harper back, I think that puts them over the hump, especially if Suarez keeps pitching like this.
For sure.
Syndergaard keeps giving them 5 or 6 innings to keep them, or 7 like he could have last game. So I think that is in their bullpen. You know, you lose Nabel, but Coonrod comes back. So I mean, I think he hopefully fills that void that you lose with Nabel. And I honestly put the Eagles in a similar percentage because I just think in that division, I think they win the division. If the changes, especially if the changes on defense are what we hope they are, and especially when you throw A.J. Brown into the mix offensively, I think it gives them that guy to make those big plays, big catches to get the first down, where it doesn't have to be Hurts running for the first down. It's now he can dump, get those plays to A.J. Brown, and he can either turn them into big plays or at least fight for the first down. And they even had him in the backfield running. I don't know if you noticed in one of the scrimmages or was it in the preseason? No, it wasn't preseason. It had to be in one of their. There was video out there of him taking some plays in the backfield, kind of Debo Samuel-ish.
Yep.
So, I think that could be cool because he's of a similar stature.
I saw a stat the other day that like most of Jalen's throws have gone. I think it's like 60% of his throws have gone to Goddard over the last like 3 to 5 practices, which is interesting because the beginning of the preseason was all AJ Brown, AJ Brown. But I mean, he didn't throw to AJ Brown at all in the preseason game. So, we very well could see that mixed bag.
This team is going to be, it's going to be like that every game. I feel like we're not going to, I don't think with the way this team is laid out. And I think this speaks to maybe Jalen's progression, that he's not at the point where he's going to pepper every guy with 6, or 7 targets through a whole game. I'm hoping Sirianni is setting this offense up to realize, okay, they're doubling AJ today. Or maybe they're really putting guys down the middle to take away Goddard. Or they're really covering the running backs coming out of the flat today. Or they're really focusing on Devontae, to make sure that he doesn't kind of get going. I think we're going to see a lot of that with this team, is that one or two guys are going to have like 8, 9, 10 receptions. And just for that week, other guys just aren't. They just aren't. I just don't think Jalen's not like Peyton Manning in his prime, where he could literally hit every guy 5 or 6, 7 times in a game because he was just that good at reading what was going on. Yeah. I think that they're going to have like, okay, they're doubling Devontae today. AJ's going to get the first 5. And then when they switch it up, now Goddard's going to get 5. And then the defense is going to switch it again. And then AJ's going to get another 2 or 3. Like, it's just not going to be it's not going to be all over the field every game. They're going to have to take advantage of what the defense is doing. And Sirianni hopefully can see that. And also, I can't remember the offensive coordinator's name yet. Clearly,
Steichen, baby.
Thank you. Hopefully, both of them can realize what's happening during the game and call plays that take advantage of that. We're just not going to see 7 or 8 receptions or even targets for these guys every game. Like Jalen's just not at that point. And I don't think we're asking him to be that. I don't think we're asking him to be that. And I don't think we should be.
Yeah, I know they talk about somebody being a 100 reception guy, and I agree with you.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
That happening. I think he has too many weapons, and like you said, the interesting thing is getting an AJ Brown is going to make Devontae better. It's going to make Goddard better. It's going to make the running game better because the safeties are going to have to cheat to AJ Brown. And if Smith beats him deep, then they got to cheat.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
And so hopefully he runs an offense that formations and motion dictates the defense to Hurts early so that he can make those first and second reads. Because I think once he gets to third and fourth, it's a different.
I've already seen more motion in one preseason game than I feel like I saw of last year. So that's good news.
Yes. We started out
AJ
with it last year, though, too, because we talked about that.
Yeah.
And then he went away from it when they started just running the ball.
I think AJ allows for more. I think him, he and Devontae in motion just simply allows for much more confusion to a defense and a lot more thought processes have to go through the secondary when those two guys go in motion with the other weapons surrounding them, especially now with Pascal and Watkins in the slot. Like it's just too many weapons on that offense when one guy goes in motion. So,
and the other thing to think about is Pascal and AJ Brown both are monster blockers from the receiver position.
Yep, and Devontae's a dog, man. Like he will block his tail off. So it's just exciting all around, Roger. I agree. I think I'm with you with the Phillies between 70 and 80. I have the Eagles a little bit higher. I just think they're the best team in the division. If they stay healthy, I don't see any reason that they're not walking into the playoffs pretty easily when January rolls around. We're going to be pretty excited, I think.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah. Roger, thanks, man.
Year.
Just thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Roger. Thanks, man.
My dreams come true.
Always.
Listen, the merch is coming. We'll try to do it again.
Yeah, and go tell your daughter you're a star on this show.
That's right.
She is here listening, so she just turned around with a really stunned look.
Yeah. No, listen, your dad's a star on this show.
He is
a star.
Oh, she's talking. Did you hear?
Nah.
You want to get her on to sing sometime because that's her special skill.
All right.
Well, you know what? We'll make a theme song.
Okay, Leah, you will sing the theme song.
There you go.
There it is. There it is.
Guys, thank you very, very much, and you guys are awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for
Roger.
having normal folk like me on.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
I mean, dude, I don't even know what to do tonight. Call after call.
It's been fantastic.
It's just so much fun.
It's great.
I'm just having so much fun. Do we bring in Phil next?
Yeah. We have to leave Joseph for last.
Joseph has to be last. Yeah.
All right, ready?
Bring in Phil.
Right,
bring in Phil. Yeah. Phil.
Yo, what's up?
Oh,
What's up?
baby. There he is. What's up, man?
Oh, no, we lost him. Phil, come back.
No, bring him back. Phil.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, man?
We got you.
Oh, wait. Oh, there he
is.
What's up, man?
I was just talking with Joseph. I was gonna say, I don't know. Like, should we hold out? Should it be?
You know what? I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna text him right now.
No,
I'm gonna text him right now.
We decided long ago that Joseph is coming in last.
Yeah,
deal. Got it.
We're just building up his hyperactivity just so he'll literally explode when we get him on.
He's ready to go.
I'm sure we are sure he is. How you doing, man?
Good. Oh, I'm good, man. Regs, it's nice to, sorry, Michael, not to skip back from you, but for us to meet on here, it's
I know.
A pleasure.
Finally.
I'm pumped.
Me too, man. I appreciate you holding it down, the other week.
I know. Well, that was such a fun time. Oh my God, just getting through there. We had a blast, but it's good you guys, back in the swing of things. We got fun stuff happening. Really sportsman. Come on.
It's good stuff. I got invited to a neighborhood fantasy football league. So I'll be rejoining fantasy football for the first time in 7 years, I think. Turns out the dude is from South Jersey and is a 4for4 Philly sports guy. So he's already downloaded the podcast. I already plugged it to him. He's already in.
There you go.
So we have another
You just
listener.
gotta be careful what information you reveal over the pod. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
Again, man.
It's all good.
He can't listen to the Dolan pod.
That's true. That's privileged info.
The Dolan pod gives a couple of little nuances away, Regs.
Well, listen, it's all right. I haven't played in 7 years. I'm going to be terrible, so it doesn't matter.
Nah, you text me. I'll hook you up.
All right,
There
thank
you
you.
go.
I'll hook you up.
I'm going to do
I
that
got
during
you.
the draft.
I
Who
got
do I
you. When's
take
your
now?
draft?
I don't
When's
know.
your
We're
draft?
deciding. We had to fill out a little
right.
Google form to see when
right.
when everyone can do it. So sometime in the next few weeks.
Fair enough. Hey, Phil, we got one question that we're asking everybody tonight, and then we're opening it up for whatever you want to talk about for 5-10 minutes or whatever. So the question we're asking everybody tonight goes back to when the Phillies honored the 1980 team, and they finally rid it of Pete Rose out of the broadcast booth, which was an absolute disaster. And they brought in Jimmy, which we all know, like, if you're looking for wholesome fun, like, Jimmy Rollins is the perfect guy. And I texted Regs that night, and I said that day, and I was like, dude, you should see him wearing the clean white tee. He looks like he could just play shortstop today. And Crucky said, look, like, you want an MVP, you want a world title. You're clearly the second best Philly of all time to Mike Schmidt. So we're posing that question to everybody tonight. Is Jimmy Rollins the second best Philly of all time? And if he is, please give us the reason why. And if he's not, who is? And give us the reason why.
Oh, that's a great one right there. I know. I see Jimmy has such a special place too, I think, in our, guys, Philly fans growing up, our generation. So if there's anybody you could say, I mean, it's tough because Utley, Howard through there. He's a career hits leader. That means something. Is he ahead of a guy like, see, I'm kind of like nostalgic, maybe it's me personally, the Steve Carlton stories. Like, and I look at the numbers and that kind of thing. Like, there's such a hodgepodge after that.
Mm-hmm.
Is he number? It's hard for me to. I guess it's hard for me to say who else is definitely number two. So,
Bill, can I tell you who my dad said? Like, you're the first person I've said this to on the show tonight, and I don't know why I've waited so long to say this, but like, I told my dad about it that day. He called me. He was on his way back from his sister's house. They were actually going to the Iron Pigs game, and I told him about it. And he goes, "What about Richie Ashburn?" Yeah. And, we're talking about a guy who has literally half of the stadium named after him. And, he was totally cast to the side. And honestly, up until right now, when I mentioned him, no one has said Richie Ashburn tonight. Like, would you put him in that category too?
Yeah, I think he's got to be. I mean, of those Phillies of that time period, there aren't a whole lot of special accomplishments, or it's not like you have 80 or 08, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he was the guy that held it down. I mean, I remember too, even what he got. I think it was probably somewhere in the mid 90s. I'm blanking the year when he got inducted, and it was like, there's a Philly back in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that kind of thing
right.
is it's interesting. But I mean, the thing with Jimmy I love the guy. It's great. I like seeing him as a face of the franchise now. They bring him back out, that kind of thing. Part of me wonders too, it's like this last couple of years, the 12, Utley was hurt, that kind of thing. Like, he hung on there for a little bit. I'm not saying he wasn't a major league shortstop, but those years when we weren't competitive, like, I wonder if playing with, when you have Utley, Howard, Rollins, or, he's part of that, Victorino, like, so much of that's part of the game. But I think that, that really helped Jimmy, and he was the guy that's been there the longest. So I think it's kind of a thing. But I mean, Jimmy, I think he deserves more recognition. I think it's just the day to day when people talk about like it's always B-Doc, how Eagles fans, Dawkins, all that. And we love him, everything through. And now it's BG. But, like, Jimmy, just the things that they did, I mean, that time period, it was just, it was special.
I mean, admittedly, when we talked about this before last podcast, when we were thinking about bringing it up and we decided to leave it to this week, I said Steve Carlton too.
Yeah.
Because of just the sheer numbers that guy put up and just how much of a force he was for that team. You can say all you want about Jimmy Rollins. He was an unbelievably critical part of that team getting successful and then reaching the success that they had. But he's not Steve Carlton. Like, he's not a guy that you could say to a bunch of other major league, fans, and they might remember who Jimmy Rollins is. But I mean, even for me, who didn't grow up watching Steve Carlton, right? That was before my time. Enough about him that you can remember him. You'll remember his highlights. You'll see numbers, and you'll just know that name. I'm not sure if Jimmy will be that outside of Philadelphia. Like, Steve Carlton is that outside of Philadelphia. Like, he was that good of a pitcher for a very, very long time. So I'm with you there. I went back to Steve Carlton, not being in the same boat that we all are, right? Jimmy is the guy, right? From the time that the Phillies most impacted my life. So it's hard to not put him up there, but just the sheer numbers from Carlton are like stupid good. Like, they're just so good that it's hard to, not put him next, even though they are, Schmidt and him are from the same time of the Phillies.
Otherworldly, the stuff that he did. And plus, too, he's like the epitome, too, of like, he was like the left-handed strikeout pitcher. I mean, I guess there's Koufax before, but just Carlton was just a huge dude, and that slider, something that's a force. That impacts his series.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Phil. Because we also want to give people a chance to kind of talk about what they want to talk about. Why did you come on tonight? What is it that you want to speak to?
Well, I mean, honestly, one of the things, too, that I'm pumped for most, I just confirmed, too. That's why I was wondering. I don't know if I want to give this away before Joseph, but our tickets secured for next week when Bryce Harper.
Oh, did you guys get your tickets?
Anticipating his return. I've got, thanks to Ann, who's been ushering there for, my mom and Gunther have been ushering there for a decade over there. So she's in special territory there. But, we got 17 tickets between the 24th and the 26th. So whatever day he's there, there's a good chance, we'll make it work.
So that's something to be pumped about. Tell us, Phil, what does that mean to the Phillies? Like, clearly tomorrow, Kyle Schwarber's back, and Topper has talked a lot about the difference that the last 5-6 games without him has accumulated to. Like, there's been missing pieces of that offense. Yeah. It's just been ridiculous. But as good as this team has been without Bryce Harper, how good is it going to be with Bryce Harper?
Man, just to see that, that name in the lineup and because every time he's at the plate, any pitch, that the pitcher's got all of his attention's got to be on that bat. And it just has a trickle down effect. The guys after him. Now we don't have to worry about, I don't want to say anything bad about our boy Castellanos or, some of the stuff he's getting through. They're turning around. But just even lately too, Schwarber's been down, like you said, but a lot for Bohm. Who's been great. He had an awesome, month of July was phenomenal. But for him to carry that load is a different kind of, it just impacts the lineup in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. So Bryce coming back, man, it just, the energy too, he's been chomping at the bit, just this stretch of the season. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here because he's still got, everything going on. I don't want to jinx anything. All that kind of stuff still lives, but it's just going to be fun, man. We get this team back and roll in. Even though center field right now, it's all right, what do we got going on? There's still some stuff in between then that I'm worried about, but I'm just, finally get that presence in, man.
So let me ask you both this, because this is a question that I've asked a number of people. I asked my dad this the other day. We talked about it for a while. I don't know that I talked to Joseph about this, but I'm curious where your thoughts are. So Bryce comes back, right? And clearly Bryson did pretty well at the leadoff spot. We know Schwarbs has been out of this world hitting at the top. Talk to me about what your top six looks like when Bryce gets back, because right now I like Bohm sitting third, and he's been absolutely fantastic in that spot. I mean, he's been just lights out, red hot since the move, or basically since Bryce went down. Like, he's been a different player since the All-Star break. So like, when you look at this lineup when Bryce comes back, probably beginning of September, Phil, I'll start with you, and then when Phil's done, Regs jump on in. What do you see the lineup being? Because we always thought this was dangerous, but it just got a hell of a lot more dangerous with the way some of these dudes are hitting that we didn't expect to hit. So, Phil, where do you see this going come September 1st when he's back?
Yeah, I think, the big thing with me too, and like we said with the Bohm switch and why, a lot of things kind of necessitated it or getting to that point. I think it's just going to be the fact that we're going to have all those guys in the lineup, and you've got to break it. My biggest thing is, I think you can't have Harper and Schwarber together. That's like the key. You don't want to, but I think Reese is a great guy. You're putting in right behind him. Now, because of that, that's kind of the configuration that I see, or maybe even you could put Bohm in between. Mm-hmm. Question for me, and I don't want to skate out of this, but is when do you start that? Do you have a guy like Stott at the top who's been seeing quality pitches and getting through there? Or do you just kind of go with that approach of, hey, I want Schwarber. Schwarber likes the leadoff spot. That's where he was comfy. He carried this team when we really needed it through June when Bryce went down. So if we go back there, I'm thinking maybe that would be what? Schwarber, Hoskins, Bryce. 4, Bohm. 5, Real Muto. Castellanos. See, then you get into those tough situations where it's like, how far down do you move Nick Castellanos? Or before he kind of,
where's Stott? Where's Stott hanging out? Right?
We didn't even talk about Segura. You know what I mean? So it's like,
it's a good problem.
A fun thing to have.
Exactly. It's a good problem. Regs, what would you do with it?
In my ideal situation, I don't think they're there yet. And this is mostly because Gene is still working his way back. But ideally, I think I'd like to see Schwarber, Segura, Hoskins, Harper, Bohm, Castellanos, Real Muto, Stott, Vierling, etc.
I mean, the lineup's just loaded. I
would love to get Segura back towards the top, just to keep peppering those hits. I want to keep Reese up towards the top because he just keeps. And again, with Bryce behind him, they're gonna have to pitch to him, which is what we want. And with Schwarber and hopefully Segura getting on base, that's what we want. We want Reese to be up with a few guys on, and then we want Harper up. Is that this is the guy, right? Our first 3 guys can all get on base. Now we have Harper. You go back to Bohm because I think you still need that righty bat protecting him, and I'm not ready to put Castellanos there. I think they're going to because they have to. That's why they're paying the guy. So what I think will happen is they'll put Castellanos behind him like they have been, but I'd rather see Bohm, who's just been hitting the baseball everywhere. Yeah. And then you put Castellanos and Real Muto and Stott. And at that point, I think you have to put Castellanos next. And then even there, I don't mind if maybe you put Stott after him to put a lefty back up.
So I
before JT even.
I am not a Segura hitting 2 guy. And here's why. And let me just, preface this with, I know makes sense for him. He's a contact guy, hits ball well to the opposite field. You get a guy that going first. Like, I get all of that with him. But here's why I'd like him hitting like 6th or 7th. And part of it is because I really love Rhys Hoskins hitting second. Like, I just have this.
I think that's the hardest decision I think I have to make in that lineup, is that you're taking Rhys away from that second spot.
Yeah, I mean, he's been so good there, and when he's hot, he's so hot. And, you know, talk about having protection. Like, if you have Bryce hitting right behind Rhys Hoskins, you really have to think about, like, am I going to pitch to Rhys Hoskins? Because if I am, like, and he's hitting well, that's dangerous as all get out. And if I don't, oh man, Bryce Harper's right behind him. For me, the reason why I like Segura hitting down in the lineup is because I like having a guy who can make contact down there. Like, I like a guy who's around Castellanos, who we know is prone to striking out, hitting there in that area, because he's going to put the ball in play, and there's a chance that we're going to get something out of it if there are runners on base. So I do like him hitting there about Castellanos.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, Phil said it. And Phil, before we let you go, I'm going to let you kind of wrap up our conversation, but like, it's a really good problem to have when you're not talking about Gene Segura in the top 6, 7 of your lineup. Like, that's a really good problem. If you're trying to figure out, oh, well, I got through my first 6 guys and I got to figure out where to put Gene Segura, or I got through my first 6 guys and I got to figure out where to put Nick Castellanos. Like, you're in a really good place. And as long as they keep winning series, this team is going to be a very difficult out come October. Am I right, Phil?
I mean, that's like the most. It's a fun and refreshing thing. I know we spent money on this team. We're not quite at Mets territory, but they've invested and said we're going to get back to the playoffs. And here it is, second week, we're into the dog days of past in August, and we're like game ahead of the wild card spot too. We actually have like a little breathing room when Bryce Harper is about to come back. We've survived it through him. The fun thing too, I think interesting about the way the playoffs set up this year. Where we're at in the second wild card spot, we'd probably, it's first round, second. The top 2 wild card teams, I guess, are going to be facing off. So we could have a potentially 3-game set down at Atlanta. I mean, you got Wheeler and Nola going right through there in 2 games. Like, I can jump ahead of anybody when they're on.
Mm-hmm.
And the lineup too. I mean, that park plays, the ball can fly down there. There can be runs up. Anything can happen if you're in that situation. Then even, if it's the Cardinals I think it might be the Cardinals secondary, who are leading, running away with the Central right now. If we match up with them, we've proved against them that we can beat them. And at that point, anything goes in the playoffs. Teams get hot, you build, things start clicking. You know what I mean? The one thing too, while you bring that up, we get in the wild card after 10 years of waiting for the playoffs and don't get a home game. It's gonna be tough. That's almost. But hey, I guess that happened in 2007, right? And then next year things went all right. So.
I mean, listen, we just gotta hope that happens. But I mean, without it would be tough. But hey, Phil, thanks so much for coming on, man. Like,
thanks for having me, guys.
So much appreciated, dude. So appreciated. So much fun.
Have fun with Joseph here.
He's coming in right now.
Yeah, thanks.
Deep breaths, Phil.
Yeah.
All right,
see you, man.
See you, man.
Be great. See you.
See ya. Dude, do you think Joseph can top these? Have been awesome tonight.
He's gonna come in on fire.
He's gonna be. I texted him. He said, "Okay, thanks." He's like ready to go. He's like all buttoned up right now, man.
Right.
So we'll do this, and then we'll reveal our number 2 Philly.
All right.
Joseph, we're spinning.
That's all right. This is the video. You should be able to hear us.
Joseph,
speak to us, friend.
Oh no, he's gonna be so upset.
Joseph, turn your video off. wonder if I can turn it off.
Try it. We got to get him in. He's going to be all wired.
Disable video. There we go.
Joseph?
Oh, no.
All right, send him out.
He's been talking to everyone.
Send him out.
All right, he's out.
All right. Let's see if I don't know how to tell him to get back in.
He just has to figure out he's been talking this whole night.
I mean, what a night it's been, though.
It's been fantastic.
These
episodes are just getting better and better when we invite people in.
When we just invite people in, like,
yeah.
What a hilarious start. Puff agrees. Puff has been here all night.
We haven't heard from her.
She's having the best night of her life right now. I mean, she just lost it. Try and bring him back. Let's see if we can get him back in here. There's the purple spinning thing.
See, I turned his video off.
Yeah,
Joseph.
I don't know. Joseph. He's not even responding to my text right now.
He's not muted.
Uh-oh. This is a sad moment. Like maybe we waited too long to bring Joseph in.
Might have waited too long.
Is he asleep?
I mean, it's a possibility.
There's a chance he's actually asleep right now.
It's a possibility. We might have to wait for the text message.
I just texted him and said we tried to get you in. Oh, he said, "Do I need to hit anything?" He's awake. He's awake.
Make sure your sound works.
I mean, unreal. We're trying to get you in.
Can he
Joseph.
hear us?
I don't know.
Do we try again?
I think we try one more time.
All right, let's try one more time.
Joseph.
Let's turn off the video thing. See if that's...
All right.
See, he's not even talking. He's not lighting up. We can't even
no.
hear him.
What an entertaining moment this is for the listeners.
Isn't it? Yeah, especially for the audio listeners.
Yeah, we're really sorry, guys. We're just we really want you to experience.
You've had a lot of
Joseph.
entertainment up to this point, so you can give us a slack for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. If you can't, then don't listen.
Yeah,
like
you'll be
whatever.
fine.
Yeah,
it's almost over anyway.
Move along.
Yeah.
Joseph.
All right. Well, listen, we can keep talking while he tries to figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Good. So, do you want me to go first?
I do want you to go first. Yes.
All right. So, I gotta tell you, man, like. I listened to everybody else tonight, and I even threw Richie Ashburn out there. But and look, when you talk longevity in terms of being a Philly, like I don't think I realized how long Steve Carlton was a Philly for. He's a Philly for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I realized that.
Yeah.
Initially, 15 years, 241, 161 wins loss, 309. Joseph.
We'll hear him when it works.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure we will. ERA of 309. And some of that was like toward the end of his career too.
Yeah.
39 shutouts. Yeah. And 951 Ks.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. All of that is wild. That being said, Jimmy Rollins is still my second best Philly of all time.
All right.
To me, the Phillies don't win that World Series without Jimmy Rollins. The Phillies don't get to 5 consecutive postseasons without Jimmy Rollins. The guy was electric in every single way that electricity could be described on the baseball field. He was electric with his bat. He was electric on the base path. He was electric in the field. And he was electric when it came to motivating the guys around him. I know what people say about Chase Utley. Like, I understand why people loved Chase Utley. Yeah. People loved Chase Utley because he sprinted every ball that he hit out to first base, in the air, on the ground. Fine. I get it. I appreciate it. I love Chase. There's also the argument for Ryan Howard. Yeah. I think Ryan Howard kind of takes the shaft a little bit when it comes to most appreciated and beloved Phillies of all time.
Yeah,
Ryan Howard was
another MVP.
that guy was Ruthian for years.
Mm-hmm.
Years in a Phillies uniform. I mean, his rookie season through 2010, every time that dude came to hit was a spectacle. You don't know what was going to happen. All that being said, 4 Gold Gloves, an MVP, a World Series title, and multiple Silver Sluggers. I don't know how many players had 20 singles, 20 doubles, 20 triples, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases in a season. I don't think it was very many, Regs.
Yeah, doesn't seem like that would be.
You know, I just don't know that a World Series happens without Jimmy Rollins. And I can guarantee you a World Series doesn't happen without Mike Schmidt.
Yeah.
Now, could you argue a World Series doesn't happen without Utley or Howard? Yeah, sure.
Sure.
But those guys weren't carrying that clubhouse.
Right.
And to me, when you're the hits leader of an organization and you break the guy who everybody says is the number 1 player in the organizational history, you break his record, you're number 2. like I don't know where that argument even lies. I get the Steve Carlton thing, but Jimmy did it every day. If you look back to Jimmy's prime, that dude didn't sit. He never took a day off. And while I get the love for Steve Carlton, every 5 days is different than every day. So for me, it's Jimmy. Yeah, I wasn't alive for Richie, and I get my dad's argument to that. But Jimmy, to me, in my lifetime, is number 2. He will be number 2. That is the guy I cherish as the second best Philly of all time.
I think when I really think about it, I agree with you. I just don't think as much as I appreciate Steve Carlton and his longevity and his numbers and the innings he ate up, we have to, we're slaves to our time. We think more highly of the guys who accomplished something in our lifetime that we didn't think was possible.
Yep. So
I know some people say we should disagree more, but I think on this, there's nothing to disagree about. I think for me, it absolutely is Jimmy Rollins. Like I said before when Phil was on, those teams don't happen without Jimmy Rollins. Obviously Utley and Howard contributed unbelievably, and Cole Hamels and Brad Lidge and Ryan Madsen and all those guys, Shane Victorino, everybody, Pat Burrell, everyone contributed to those teams. There wasn't one guy that, made that team what it is, but those teams aren't what they are without Jimmy.
Right.
They're not what they are. They don't come together the way they come together without Jimmy. They don't maintain this level. Everyone knows about Chase's well-known defensive plays. Chase was not the best defensive second baseman in the world. Jimmy Rollins was an all-world defensive shortstop.
Oh, dude, so good. He was so good.
All-world defensive shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Ryan Howard, not the best defender. Pedro Feliz was a very good defender at third base, so we'll give him that.
Yep.
But the other 2 guys that we talk about, being the heads of that team, besides maybe Hamels, were not the greatest defensive players.
Right.
Jimmy was the anchor of that defense. Jimmy and Shane in center field, and Carlos behind the plate. Like you said, up the middle wins you championships.
Yep.
And for that guy to accomplish all he did with the extra base hits, the stolen bases, the power that he had for such a small guy. Yeah, I'm with you, man. He's number 2 in my book. Same as you.
Yeah. I don't think there's really much of an argument to be made. I think he's the guy. Look, Joseph is in the waiting room. Let's try one more time.
Right,
and if he can't pick up, if he's not in, we'll do a fixate and get out of here. Joseph.
Nope.
We tried, man.
We tried. It got
Have
too
to-
late for everything. His technology, his computer, everything.
It just didn't want to work out for us.
It's all
We're
right.
sorry, bud.
We've had
We're
Joseph
sorry,
on
bud.
the most probably, so it's okay.
Yeah.
We love you, buddy.
We'll get you back in, man. We love you. We're
All
sorry.
right. Jump into it, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily
I'm fixated on our fans. Let's do
yeah,
that.
I think that's kind of where I was thinking. Like, holy moly, dude! Like, what a night!
It's been fantastic.
I literally what did I text you? 9:10?
Yeah, we put this out
And
there.
I was like, do you want to just
before we started?
you want to just bring people in tonight? You're like, yeah, give it a shot. You get just like 5 or 6 people just hanging in our waiting room when we signed on tonight.
Unbelievable.
Like, what a freaking night, man!
Yeah.
Like, I gotta agree with you. Like, I'm fixated on the fact that people actually give a crap what we say about like this stuff.
I know.
Like I don't know. I wear a Philly shirt and I wear a Phillies hat, and here we are talking about Philly sports, and people want to talk to us about it.
Yeah.
And I still can't get over 42 episodes later and a half. 42 and a half
That's
episodes later. That there are people that really care what we have to say.
And keep coming back to listen. Like, I know we talk about it a lot, but like the consistency of people coming back and listening to the episodes or watching the YouTube videos that's what baffles me. I get it if maybe you tune in for the first few and people got a lot going on,
Yeah.
There's a million podcasts out there. But the fact that like almost 20 to 25 people consistently listen to every episode is like,
And not just listen, but
nuts.
then we you have your added like 8 to 10 that watch it.
right. Yeah.
And I won't get over it. Like,
or if you're
again,
doing
I-
both, you're a maniac and we'd love you.
Yeah, well then you're wild.
Yeah.
Like, you are just wild if you're doing both. But like I just go back to, I know there are podcasts that have like thousands and millions of like, I know that. I
Right.
get it. But I'm still so humbled by the idea of like 40 people listening to what we have to say.
Yeah.
And doing it weekly.
Yep.
And look, we're gonna repay you. As a matter of fact, as soon as we get off of here, we're gonna talk about what we want to do in terms of merchandise. Like, and it'll be hopefully available in the next like 2 weeks for everybody to purchase. Because we're so appreciative, and yeah, we want to keep passing the word to others, but we also want to reward people for being so loyal to us. Yeah, Reg said it. I consider you fans, but I consider you friends for taking the time to listen to us and hang out with us every week. And I know Riggs agrees. It's just insane. It's insane, man.
Yeah. It will continue to be mind blowing every time I look at the numbers.
It's wild. So yeah, I think we're going to be a little fixated on you guys tonight, because quite honestly, I didn't really have I didn't have another Phixate. I said to Regs before we started, we popped in, there were 5 people in the waiting room, and I was like, holy crap,
Yeah.
what is happening right now? Like, I just put that up on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 5 people in immediately. So we appreciate all the participation. Like, what fun conversations with Matt and Joe and Roger and Phil and Joseph. We're sorry we couldn't get you in, but obviously we'll get you back.
Yeah,
if Phillies get in the playoffs, you'll be in. Like, that's Phillies Joseph playoff pod is meant to be. It's absolutely meant to be.
Yep, it'll happen.
So thanks to Matt for his side of the road conversation tonight, and Joe with just the general sense of humor that Joe brings to like everything in his life, and Roger for being as dedicated as he is, and Phil for popping on after a couple weeks after being on the show. We appreciate you guys for coming on and just living it up with us for an hour. We loved it.
It was great.
We loved it.
It was awesome.
So hey guys, listen, like, keep an eye out, because soon you're gonna get a link dropped for Phixated merchandise. It's coming, Rags.
It is. We're working on it. We told you it's one of the things that we're working on this year. So be on the lookout. Twitter, Facebook. We'll put it in podcast descriptions. You'll be able to find it. So if you're willing.
And if you're wondering where in the world do I find them on Facebook and Twitter, let me tell you.
Let you tell them.
Yes, you will find us on Facebook at the Phixated fan page, both with a PH. You'll find us on Twitter at Birdies and Beer at B&B Pods. You'll find us on at the Phixated Pod. You'll find me on at the Mic Drop 5, and you'll find Regs at Big Regs with a Z. So make sure you follow all of those, and make sure you click subscribe right below us here on YouTube if you're watching us. And if you are, I'm wearing my sweet baby blues and maroons tonight. I really hope you're paying attention, because boys, the Phils are it. I get that they lost 1 to the Reds, whatever. I feel good about this weekend. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling 3 out of 4. I'm feeling 3 out of 4 this weekend, at the very least. We're going to come back next week all fired up. They're going to be like 7-1 coming out of this weekend. When we record next Thursday night, 7-1 between the Mets series and the Red series. We're going to be all wired. So, all right, guys, we appreciate you so much listening to us. Make sure you are safe, be good, be kind to someone, and take care. Go Phils, go Birds.
Appreciate you all. Have a good night.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.